Cue me trying to freak out the party by having the boss pick up the fairy PC and live with him in the tunnels. I allowed him to be size tiny because fairy, and I did that to hear more stories. All the other players joke about giving them some private time together. Welp, that JPEG. The fairy PC comes back a few minutes later and says he wants to prove his worth so that his new Moth mommy will marry him. Hey, what's up everybody, this is SkyDieRay. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Wait a minute. Anyway, how are you guys doing? Welcome to another DnDGreentext video. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before jumping into the video, if you want to do me a little favor and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, that would be greatly appreciated because the majority of people watching are not subscribed. So, thank you so much if you do that. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Apparently, 1 hour of math is a declaration of war crimes. Oh god. I don't think it can be a declaration of war crimes, but I can see it being both a declaration of war and a war crime. Bimmy, forever DM midway through what ends up being a 3-year-long, almost entirely homebrewed 5th edition campaign. Pin at me, half dwarf, half gnome wizard artificer with necromancer aspirations. And the rest of the party. So a little bit of setting for this. I had made a lot of this campaign up, and one of the spells I had allowed my players was Transmute Liquid, which changed one liquid into another. Usually, this was used either for turning random sludge into clean drinking water, water into wine, or the beer in someone's mug into moose piss. Hilarious prank by the way, but that's a story for another day. I do wonder if he would allow turning someone's blood in, I don't know, water or tar or anything. Oil. That would be a nice spell, that would definitely be a war crime. This spell was designed as a cantrip, as you'd only be making a small amount for yourself, but we had at one point ruled that you could change larger volumes if you expanded the spell slot. Higher spell slot equals more volume changed. Throughout the campaign, I had set a pretty stringent precedent that if whatever you're doing or trying to do would work with real world physics, I guess, I'll allow it. This was about to go poorly. Cue my Dwaom, I guess that's a dwarf gnome, best friend player getting into a situation that he couldn't handle. Being alone, having portaled in near the big bad evil guy's lair, or what the party thought was the lair, in order to scout it out. The player was attacked by more angry ghosts than he could handle, so what does he do? He uses Transmute Liquid on the lake, as a 5th level spell slot. Okay, I'll allow it, I want to see where this is going to. 5 minutes later, we figure out that's the volume of an Olympic swimming pool worth of liquid. That's 2.5 million liters or 660,000 gallons for our imperial friends. Still not sure where he's going with this. I finally ask, okay, what liquid are you trying to transform this water into? Player, knack. Knack? I ask. Knack, responds the player firmly. Much science later to find out what this even is, and many rolls to determine if this player would even have a clue, since he had been setting this up for a while in character, so he had made sure that his character knew just enough chemistry that this would easily be possible. For those of you who don't know, knack is a metal alloy, liquid at room temperature, just like mercury, but horribly explosive when in contact with water. A small vial about the size of a golf ball explodes like a hand grenade. This stuff ignites automatically with just the water in the air. My face when I finally understood what he was trying to do. The entire table was laughing so hard they were crying at what they expected was going to just wipe out the big bad evil guy way early in the campaign. I had one final ace up my sleeve. Math. To Google, I exclaimed. We all worked on this, figuring out the explosive power of knack and water when combined, the explosive potential, and the size of the explosion. The numbers kept adding more zeros. My players' faces when they realized the scale of their effort. An hour later, we finally had it staring us in the face. Numbers that were almost incomprehensibly large. My Dwaom asks if he has enough time to jump through the portal and close it behind him. Roll initiative. 14. Fine, you get to react. Other party members that were miles away vaporized instantly. The rest who were in the tavern in town, they felt the ground rumble, heard the explosion, and saw all the shattered glass. The largest non-nuclear detonation in history pales in comparison to this. Nearly TPK'd if it wasn't for the party cleric who was away that session, so he was in the tavern. No one ever attempts such a thing again. The transmute liquid spell is practically walled away in a shrine to never be used again by universal unsaid agreement. TLDR. As a DM, I used an hour of math to scare my players into outlawing a simple spell as it goes against their definition of war crimes. Oh Jesus, man. Also there's an edit with a bit of a clarification. For those wondering, the rest of the lake was still water, so plenty of reaction material. Also, Duaom had mentioned specifically that they want to spread it thin, like a sheet under the water, so as to get the maximum surface area. They had been studying chemistry on YouTube recently, which was where they got the idea. FML. But, rule of cool, I had to allow it at least once. Did you have to? I don't know. Anyway, I guess it was nice from the DM to allow the player to, you know, almost TPK everyone and basically do a war crime. Yeah, that's cool. Sure, that's what the rule of cool is for. My players have a very selective attention span. I'm the DM for a group of 4 min-maxed murder hobos. Every session, I ask them for a recap of what happened last session. Everyone that contributes gains inspiration. This was more or less their recap of the previous session. Player. We hunted a shark and a dinosaur in the desert, and then we got back to the village. Then we got the mission to slay an unicorn, and we went to the frozen pigs. We ended up saving the unicorn from a monkey, and it asked us to help destroy a statue. And that was actually a word for it, but they didn't know it at the time. Okay, is that all you remember from the last session? Asks the GM. Oh, right. We also found a puff of hair while tracking the unicorn. Okay, I'm surprised you remember that. I said that just to show that you're on the right track. Anything else? I think that was basically it. Hey, can we still get the unicorn's horn that the monkey ate? Maybe we can fix it with super glue? They then start discussing possible uses for a partially digested unicorn horn. Meanwhile, I'm here on the other side of the DM shield, rethinking my life decisions and wondering why the 2-headed skeletal dragons that appeared in the village somehow didn't cause a lasting impression, but a random puff of hair did. TLDR, if the murder hobos didn't fight it, it didn't happen. Oh god, yeah, okay. How I gave my PC a Moth mommy by accident. Was it even by accident? I am a bit scared to even read it. Bimmy, DM for a one-shot between friends. Run a dungeon and tell the players that they can pick whatever races and classes. One PC asks if they can play a fairy. Sure, but I'll tell you that fairies in my world can be a lot weirder than normal D&D fairies. He says that's fine. Cue the dramatic meeting with the boss of the first floor. Describe the monstrous, moth-like female humanoid fairy. Through some clever role-playing and careful wording, they manage to distract it for a few minutes while figuring out a plan. The fairy PC begins telling a story of the outside world, and the fairy monster is curious. Cue me trying to freak out the party by having the boss pick up the fairy PC and live with him in the tunnels. I allowed him to be size tiny because fairy, and I did that to hear more stories. All the other players joke about giving them some private time together. Welp, that JPEG. The fairy PC comes back a few minutes later and says he wants to prove his worth so that his new moth mommy will marry him. Oh god, yeah, I do regret reading it. Yeah, I do, and it's not over yet. Sure, the fairy wants you to fight the bigger and badder boss on the last floor since she's scared of it. The fairy PC has this shonen moment as he plunges into the abyss of the last floor filled with renewed determination. The Discord chat is now filled with mofied moth artwork. And it's still a recurring meme every once in a while. Oh god, this was... I mean, why did it have to be a moth though? I don't know. Is that even the worst part? I can't even tell. I'm way too tired at the time of recording for something like this. So many missed red flags. Bimmy, a heavy metal bard. I'm in an adventuring party whose campaign has lasted several years. The Metal Bard started as a joke character that the DM never killed, and I grew to love him. The character has developed over the years from a stupid, two-dimensional character who only wanted to play heavy metal to a fully fleshed out person. Over the years, the Bard has written several albums, gotten engaged to a member of one of the most powerful and magical royal houses on the continent, taken a job as a music teacher at totally not Hogwarts, and has been trying to help stop the end of the world. Flashback to a year ago, almost, in-game and out-of-game, when the party meets a shapeshifter while traveling on the road. The Bard, not thinking, blabs on about his entire life story to fill the silence until the shapeshifter and the party go their separate ways. They later learn that the shapeshifter is a wanted serial killer. Nothing comes of it, and eventually the Bard stops worrying about it. Flash forward to the last week's session. The Bard goes to visit his fiancée after a long adventure to another plane. Walk in as the fiancée is locking the closet door behind her, acting odd. The fiancée distracts the Bard with a fade to black timeskip love scene. She volunteers to join the party on their next adventure to provide a magical backup. The DM almost never allows the NPCs. She uses a scroll to teleport herself and the Bard to the rest of the party. Also, something that she's never done before. The fiancé is generally acting completely normal, but not quite normal the whole time. I don't start putting 2 and 2 together until after the game. Our next game is Monday, and the DM repeatedly said we're in the endgame now. The Bard is stupid in character and likely won't notice until it's too late, and I refuse to metagame. The Bard is going to meet a tragic fate. I have no mouth, and I must scream. Oh man, that is sad. I don't know why I was expecting from the title to be like red flags, like a, bad DM or a bad player or something. But no, this was just a big F up from the Bard player. This really sucks in retrospective, at least, to realize how bad you missed all the red flags. I'm a fun-loving DM, I swear. Be me. First time DM. Be the players. Everyone makes their characters anonymously. Be player 1, Goliath Barbarian. Be player 2, Goliath Barbarian. Be player 3, White Dragonborn Barbarian. Everyone is a barbarian. Be a random encounter, a mimic, and the players are rolling everything possible that's under a 5 and some natural 1s. Be the mimic, critting constantly. Almost TPK, no one can heal, the party got split up, and the players do not want to leave the dungeon yet. I swear I'm not trying to DM win D&D. I should have lied about mimic rolls. I don't know about that. I mean, your players should learn that they, at some point, if they're, low on resources or anything, or they need healing, or, multiple fights happened, they need to go back. They can't just push onward because, oh, the DM is never gonna TPK, he's not gonna kill us, I mean, I don't know, I feel like that's a bit of a move from the players if they do that. My warlock gives his life for another player. Possible spoilers for the Waterdeep Dragon heist. Be me, the DM. Be not me, the warlock, the druid, and 3 others that aren't that important for this story. All are level 1. We're playing Waterdeep Dragon heist. The players have gotten into the Xanatar's guild's hideout in the sewers. They got past the goblins easily. They barge into the room with the Duergar Zemk and the bandit Krentz. The players prioritize Krentz as they remember him from the start and don't like him. My face when the Duergar downs the druid and the warlock. After a lengthy fight, the players win. The warlock succeeds on his death saves. The druid gets a natural 1 and dies. The warlock prays to his patron to give his life force to the druid. The warlock gets Thanos snapped and the druid is okay again. The warlock uses the power of friendship and Satan to revive his friend and dies in the process. That was really wholesome for the warlock. Completely unexpected from a warlock usually. Also, like, both from the warlock and the warlock's patron, I guess it's kind of unusual to want that, right? Losing your servant. Anyway, on that wholesome question mark note, we're gonna end the video here. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like you did and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon and here on YouTube as well. I really appreciate it, so thank you so much for that. Links below if you want to check those out, as well as links to the social media, Discord server, subreddit, anything else. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.